Our first record was with Frank Zappa. Then we finally went on and actually got with guys that could do songwriting. He said, that's good, right?
Alice Cooper just dropped a bombshell that has fans reeling, and it involves none other than the legendary Frank Zappa. For years, these two rock icons have been linked through their wild personalities and unique contributions to music. But what Alice just revealed about Zappa has everyone talking. In a recent interview, Cooper opened up about something unexpected, something that even the most die-hard Zappa fans never saw coming. You won't believe the shocking truth he shared about their time together and how it completely changes the way we look at their relationship. Could this be a hidden chapter in rock history that we never knew existed? The revelation is so jaw-dropping, it's bound to spark intense debates among fans of both artists. What Alice just said could leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Frank Zappa and their legendary collaborations. When you think of rock and roll, two names that immediately come to mind are Alice Cooper and Frank Zappa. These two legendary figures not only shaped the landscape of music with their bold, avant-garde approaches, but also left lasting impacts on the genre of rock. Though they came from vastly different musical backgrounds, Zappa's experimental jazz-inspired world and Cooper's visceral glam rock theatrics, their fates intertwined in a remarkable way, cementing their relationship as one of rock's most iconic partnerships. Alice Cooper. From their humble beginnings, the transformation of Alice Cooper into the rock legend we know today was as wild as his stage antics. The band's early performances were a mashup of unpredictable and almost theatrical chaos. It wasn't about just playing music, it was about creating an experience. Fans were drawn to their strange combination of dark, eerie themes and outrageous behavior. They pushed the boundaries of what rock could be, and it was clear this was no ordinary band. After signing with Frank Zappa's Straight Records, the group started making waves with their unique blend of rock, glam, and macabre theatrics. The influence of Zappa was undeniable. He helped shape Alice Cooper's sound, but more importantly, he encouraged the band to take risks. Zappa wasn't about playing it safe. He wanted to redefine what was acceptable in the world of rock music, and Alice Cooper was the perfect vehicle for that mission. As the band became more popular, their image began to take shape. The name Alice Cooper fits perfectly with their style. Innocent on the surface, but with a menacing twist. Cooper wasn't just a name, it was a persona, a character that could become anything the band imagined, from a crazed villain to a rebellious anti-hero. This character would soon become the face of shock rock, using everything from fake blood and guillotines to snakes and electric chairs to captivate the audience. Through the 1970s, Alice Cooper took rock to a new level with their theatrical performances. The stage became a place where anything could happen: blood, gore, and all the things that made mainstream society cringe. But this was the genius of Alice Cooper. They made people think, even if it was through shock and horror. Fans and critics alike were riveted by their ability to blend music, performance art, and pure spectacle. Cooper's theatricality wasn't just for shock value, it had a deeper connection with the themes of rebellion, personal freedom, and confronting societal norms. And let's not forget about the music itself. Behind all the drama, the tunes were catchy, riff-heavy, and downright memorable, which is why they've stood the test of time. Through the years, Alice Cooper's evolution only grew more fascinating. From the band's inception to Alice's solo career, the transformation has always been one of reinvention. The man behind the mask, Vincent Furnier, was always in control, always pushing boundaries, and always making sure that his rock and roll legacy would be defined by more than just music. It would be about creating an unforgettable experience. Even after decades in the industry, Alice Cooper is still shocking audiences, proving that the combination of music and spectacle can be as powerful as ever. His journey from a high school band to an internationally recognized rock icon is a testament to how one person's vision can change the face of music forever. Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa wasn't just a musician, he was a true visionary. With his wild, experimental style, Zappa pushed the boundaries of what music could be. blending everything from jazz and classical influences to rock and avant-garde ideas. He wasn't interested in following trends, he was creating his own. Zappa had an uncanny ability to blend humor, satire, and social commentary into his intricate compositions. And it wasn't just about the music. His entire approach to performance was about shaking up expectations and challenging the norms of the music industry. Before Alice Cooper ever crossed his path, Zappa had already solidified his reputation with the Mothers of Invention, a band that was notorious for its unconventional, unpredictable sound. With Zappa leading the charge, the Mothers of Invention became a symbol of rebellion against the music establishment, drawing attention with their complex arrangements, surreal lyrics, and knack for blending comedy with serious musicianship. Their sound was unlike anything anyone had heard before, and that was exactly the point. Zappa was never about fitting in, he was about standing out. But Zappa's influence didn't stop there. In 1968, he founded Straight Records and Bizarre Records, two labels that would go on to become homes for some of the most innovative artists of the time. Zappa wasn't just trying to sign any band. He wanted artists who were willing to break the mold and make music that would turn heads. He was always on the lookout for acts that shared his vision of challenging the mainstream and exploring the far edges of what music could sound like. That's where Alice Cooper enters the picture. When Zappa discovered the band, he saw something in them that was raw and untapped, an energy that could be shaped into something far more extraordinary than anyone had imagined. Under his guidance, Alice Cooper would go on to become a pioneer of shock rock, blending theater, music, and controversy into a performance art form. Zappa didn't just see them as another rock band. He saw the potential for a whole new kind of musical experience. Zappa's influence on Alice Cooper was undeniable. His approach to music and performance helped shape the band's experimental style, and his commitment to creating art that went beyond entertainment paved the way for Alice Cooper's wild theatrical shows. Zappa was more than just a mentor, he was the mastermind behind the scenes, guiding the band toward a legacy that would forever change the music world. His boldness, creativity, and fearlessness in the face of convention made him a key figure in the evolution of rock music, and his impact on artists like Alice Cooper is still felt to this day. The fateful meeting in Los Angeles. It was a wild night in Los Angeles, and Alice Cooper's band were about to make their mark in a way no one could have predicted. The band was the house act at a party, and the vibe was straight out of the 1960s counterculture, with hippies grooving, everyone in a good mellow mood, probably a few people floating in a haze of acid. But Alice Cooper's band? They weren't about to play by those peace and love rules. As soon as they hit the stage, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Instead of peace and light, they brought dark, chaotic, and theatrical energy that was far from what the crowd expected. It wasn't long before the room started to empty out. But here's the twist. The exodus of partygoers didn't faze Alice Cooper's band one bit. If anything, it seemed to energize them. What's even more interesting is that it wasn't the band's reaction to the disappearing crowd that was noteworthy, it was Frank Zappa's. You see, Zappa, who was already a legend for his eccentricities and experimental approach to music, wasn't put off by the fact that they'd just cleared the room. In fact, he found it fascinating. Zappa, always on the lookout for something fresh and boundary-pushing, thought, "Anybody that can clear a room that quick, I've got to sign." At the end of the night, only 3 people remained in the room: Zappa, Alice Cooper's manager, Shep Gordon, and one of Zappa's entourage, a member of the GTOs. To everyone else, the band might have seemed like a flop. But to Zappa, their ability to shock and leave such a powerful impression spoke volumes. It was exactly what he was looking for, an act that didn't play by the rules, that wasn't afraid to be different, even if it meant scaring the audience off. That moment marked a turning point. What could have been a disastrous performance for most bands became the catalyst for Alice Cooper's big break. Zappa saw their potential and quickly signed them to his label, marking the beginning of a legendary partnership that would propel Alice Cooper into the spotlight and change the face of rock music forever. Zappa's influence on Alice Cooper's career. When Alice Cooper signed with Frank Zappa's Straight Records, they entered into a world of unpredictable creativity, but it wasn't always smooth sailing. Zappa, with his avant-garde mindset, didn't just want the band to be a rock group. He saw them as a whole theatrical experience. His vision for Alice Cooper was wild, even by his standards. He suggested the band take on a comedic, surreal persona under the name Alice Cookies, with an album that could be released on cookie-sized vinyls inside actual tin cans. The idea was absurdly unique, and while the band was intrigued, financial realities ultimately squashed the cookie-themed concept. The creative tension didn't end there. Zappa was notorious for his fast, no-compromise approach to recording. He expected artists to work quickly and efficiently, a standard he stuck to, but it clashed with Alice Cooper's chaotic style. For their debut album, Pretty's for You, Zappa didn't get heavily involved in the recording process. Instead, he left much of the work to the band's keyboardist Ian Underwood, while the band struggled to meet Zappa's rapid timeline. They were given just a week to finish the album, creating a stressful environment and adding to the tension between Zappa's precision and the band's unpredictable nature. Despite the experimental nature of Pretty's for You, the album didn't make a major impact commercially. Their second album, Easy Action, fared similarly, failing to capture the public's attention. It was clear that Zappa's more eccentric influence wasn't getting the band the success they needed. By the time they started working on their third album, Love It to Death, Zappa had stepped back from the process. His role diminished, and Alice Cooper began to evolve without his direct involvement, gradually finding their own sound and stage presence. Although Zappa's direct influence faded, his legacy left a lasting impact on Alice Cooper's identity. The theatricality, the willingness to push boundaries, and the sense of rebelliousness that Zappa instilled in them were all still present. Even as the band moved on from Zappa's label, they continued to evolve into the shock rock legends we know today, thanks in part to the early guidance of the man who saw their potential from the very start. The Break and Bitter lawsuit. The relationship between Alice Cooper and Frank Zappa, once full of creative potential, eventually hit a rough patch. After their time on Straight Records, Alice Cooper's band was eager to carve out their own path in the music industry, and they quickly realized that Zappa's experimental approach, though brilliant, wasn't the right fit for where they wanted to go. They were aiming for something bigger and more mainstream, and Zappa's unpredictable avant-garde style was starting to feel like a roadblock to their success. So, Alice Cooper made the decision to leave Zappa's label and sign with Warner Brothers, marking the beginning of their transformation into the shock rock icons we know today. With the new deal in place, the band began to develop the theatrical, rebellious persona that would redefine rock music and make them a household name. The shock rock image, the crazy stage antics, the fake blood, the guillotines, became their signature, and it wasn't long before they were dominating the rock scene. But the split wasn't as clean and easy as it may have seemed. After leaving Straight Records, Alice Cooper's band took legal action against Zappa's business team, accusing them of unfair practices and mishandling their royalties. This bitter lawsuit ended up costing Alice Cooper millions of dollars and left bad blood on both sides. It's tough when a partnership that once felt like creative magic ends with accusations and legal battles, and that's exactly what happened here. Though the two sides would go their separate ways, the animosity lingered, and the legal fallout was a reminder of how tricky the music industry can be, even for the most innovative artists. Despite the tension, the breakup ultimately allowed Alice Cooper to fully embrace the persona that would catapult them to fame. Zappa's influence may have faded, but the foundation he helped lay down was still present in their wild, boundary-pushing performances. What started as an unconventional partnership ended in a messy split, but for Alice Cooper, it marked the beginning of a new era, one where they were free to follow their own vision. The legacy of their relationship. Despite the messy fallout between Alice Cooper and Frank Zappa, There was always a deep sense of respect between them, especially after Zappa's death in 1993. Cooper never shied away from praising Zappa's brilliance. In interviews, he frequently spoke of Zappa's exceptional musical talent and his ability to craft complex, intricate music that pushed the limits of rock and roll. Cooper would often describe Zappa as the best guitar player I've ever seen, recounting a particularly memorable night when he saw Zappa play alongside the legendary Jimi Hendrix. To Cooper, Zappa's skill wasn't just technical, it was art in motion, a display of pure mastery that stuck with him forever. Zappa's influence on Alice Cooper wasn't just about the music, it was about shaping the persona that would become iconic in rock history. While Zappa wasn't the traditional nurturing mentor, his guidance was crucial in helping Alice Cooper find his identity. It was Zappa's unique vision that saw something special in the band, even when most people didn't. He helped push them toward creating a persona that was theatrical, dark, and completely different from what was popular at the time. Without Zappa's involvement, it's hard to imagine Alice Cooper would have reached the same heights of success or developed the bold, unforgettable stage presence that became his signature. Though their paths eventually diverged, the impact Zappa had on Cooper's career is undeniable. Cooper has always acknowledged that Zappa played a pivotal role in getting Alice Cooper's career off the ground. He may have been the kind of mentor who challenged the band to the point of tension, but in hindsight, that pressure and experimentation helped build the foundation for Alice Cooper's shock rock legacy. Zappa's influence wasn't just musical, it was transformational, and it was a key part of Alice Cooper's journey to becoming the icon he is today. The unique partnership between Alice Cooper and Frank Zappa didn't just make waves within their own circle, it caught the attention of the broader rock world as well. Many artists were fascinated by Zappa's approach to mentorship, which was far from the traditional hands-on guidance you might expect. Instead, Zappa encouraged a freedom that allowed for experimentation and pushing boundaries in ways most people wouldn't dare. For Alice Cooper, Zappa was a trailblazer, an iconoclast who showed him that rock and roll wasn't just about music. It was about breaking down the rules, embracing the absurd, and doing something that would truly shock and awe audiences. This philosophy didn't go unnoticed by other artists of the time. Icons like David Bowie, who was also known for his avant-garde approach to music and performance, looked up to Alice Cooper's stage presence as a major influence. Bowie, always looking to challenge the status quo, saw in Cooper's theatricality a kindred spirit. Like Cooper, Bowie recognized that rock wasn't just about the music, it was about using performance as a tool to challenge cultural norms and entertain on a deeper, more visual level. Bowie admired the way Alice Cooper used outrageous theatrics to create an entire experience for his audience, and it's clear that this kind of boundary-pushing art had a profound impact on his own stage persona. The influence of Alice Cooper and Frank Zappa's collaboration rippled through the rock scene, showing other artists that music could be a fully immersive experience, one where sound, spectacle, and social commentary all intertwined. Their relationship proved that creating something truly revolutionary wasn't just about making great music. It was about making a statement, making people think, and sometimes even making them uncomfortable. Artists like Bowie and many others would go on to build their own versions of this philosophy, transforming the rock stage into a space for the unexpected and the extraordinary. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating relationship between Alice Cooper and Frank Zappa, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more rock history content. Let us know in the comments what you think about their partnership. Did Zappa's influence truly shape Cooper's career, or would he have succeeded on his own? Don't forget to share this video with fellow rock fans who appreciate the weird and wonderful side of music. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more exciting stories from the world of rock and roll.